Well, I think my biggest prediction is that either one of these teams who gets out is going to have trouble against that Cloud9 team. Like, I'm just super impressed with what they've been doing, and I'm sure we will talk to them when we get to Grand Finals, but I was just reading some of the threads, and I think overall that roster's played together for 4 days. 4 days together in Overwatch is nothing. That's remarkable that they're just outclassing them in individual play, like these teams that have been together for very long times, established rosters. So that is going to be a great Grand Finals, no matter who comes out of this. But this is essentially a match for $2 grand right now.
It is. And then it's a match for $2 grand with the option, if you win, to upgrade that to $3 grand. So right. Both teams definitely playing for stuff that is substantial here. And we'll have to see how it goes. But taking a look here at the defense coming out here from the side of Team Liquid. There's going to be AZK here on the Reaper. Rafa on Zarya. Dahang on Ana. Mezar going to be on Reinhardt, Minstrel, Lucio, and ID, the final piece here on the McCree.
All right, well, offensively, Hardblue for the moment is going to be on the Zarya instead of a Roadhog. A little bit interesting there. Shake, of course, will play Ana. He's played pretty much nothing but Ana for them. Played it really well so far, hitting all those sleep darts. Torque and Nicholas on the DPS in Reaper and Hanzo. Joe Meister will play Lucio. JKW is on his perch as Widow, trying to gain some information, but he's going to be playing a Reinhardt as is usual.
Alrighty, so defense is set up, and we'll just see what the offense is looking for here. Nicholas going to be looking for those early Hanzo pickoffs, where again, we're seeing a lot of Hanzo here tonight to varying degrees of success. Probably been a better night for Hanzo than we've seen in quite a while, and we'll see if Nicholas can keep up that trend as he looks for those all-important pickoffs to start things off here against Team Liquid.
Yeah, kind of tentatively dancing around, making sure that there's no Mei so they can actually get some entry. JKW's played very aggressive all night, but he's had the support of his team right now, getting completely powered down. Mezrar punishes him for that, so that is a really tough first loss on offense. You got to actually retreat now. You can't fight this without a Reinhardt.
No, absolutely not. Once that shield tank is down, things go from bad to worse for you. And take a look right now, Rafa just laying in the poke at 37% for himself, and Liquid girly defense for them. And I would say this, one thing personally I thought had a little bit of a slow series against C9 was ID. If ID can turn it on like he does there, getting the headshot, I think Liquid will have a much better look when they go up against C9 once more. And Liquid still piling on. They get 2 kills. They lose Rafa, so they have to be a little bit careful here, but it's a 5v4. They should be able to turn this back in their favor and buy some time for Rafa to get back.
Well, JKW went down again, and he's played very aggressive all night. It's been fun to watch, and it's worked out a lot of times, so you might need to think about readjusting his style, though. Short comes into the back line, takes down ID with the boost.
Just speeds right in there as Reaper. But AZK doing the same in turn, going to the back line, gets 3 kills, no Death Blossom required. Just good old nano boost action. Not going to win the Reaper on Reaper battle,
that's
but
fine. It's
he
smart.
can run right back.
It's smart to just, like, if you're not 100% sure you're going to win that fight, why even take it? Go back to your Team Rocker supports. There's almost no benefit of trying to kill Torque there. You already have your Death Blossom back up because you're in the charge.
Here we go, AZK going to the back line once more. Death Blossom coming out, but it's rather late. Ends up getting slapped and just thrown aside like a piece of garbage. 5 kills coming in here from the side of compLexity. And they crack the code, but still a good 2-minute defense coming out from the side of Liquid.
That's a little harsh, but all right.
I mean, look, that's basically what they did there. They just had no respect for it. They slept him. They killed him immediately. It was a bad run for AZK. I'm not saying AZK was garbage. I'm saying he was thrown away like garbage.
The word garbage just makes me laugh. I don't know why. It's one of my trigger words. I find it very funny. But yeah, the Graviton into Dragon was absolutely pivotal. They're taking 3 kills really early. So defense now trying to get in good position on the street space. Going to have another Ana boost up momentarily.
Graviton coming in here from Rafa, setting up 4 people. Rafa not able to be his own follow-up. Soundbearer in here for Liquid, though, does give them a little bit more survivability. They take out the opposing Reinhardt, and now they're being a little bit more aggressive. Rafa feels like his opportunity. He doesn't need any shield charge going in on the other Zarya right now. And Liquid, they're able to push things back, but I do think they want to back up a little bit. They're down ID, and respawns are coming in soon.
Yeah, Mez barely staying alive there. Good job on the supports to keep him up after that charge and to take down JKW, but here comes an Ana boost.
Death Blossom coming in from AZK, going to the back, takes down Shake, gets JKW, looking for the triple here. Gonna get it with the aid of Rafa, and Liquid having a pretty formidable defense. Not only did they buy 2 minutes on first, but you take a look here, compLexity not having the greatest success getting through this choke point.
No, it was really good how they dealt with Torque. He wanted to go past the tanks instead of trying to chase them. They're like, oh, he's going to get one. He's going to get a kill, so let's just let him get the kill but not get 3. So he had to come back through the lines after only getting that 1 kill, and you'll take that trade every day of the week. So they're just not over-focusing and trying to chase and get a 100% survival rate against these boosts.
As right now, getting forced back, holding on to the Earth Shatter, but doesn't have the best opportunity. Gonna go for the charge. Was going for an Earth Shatter, but probably lucky he got slept instead. Don't think that Earth Shatter was going to do anything as compLexity finally breaking through the choke, getting the kills they need. They were set up by Harblu's Graviton, and as a result, pretty good momentum here coming out for compLexity. Though you take a look at Bez, he's going to be up pretty soon. Graviton is on the way. The tanks for Liquid can do a hold here at second. They're going to have the time.
Yeah, it always seems like, oh wow, they're going to get second point, but for some reason the cart just it slows to a crawl around here. There's always time for the defense to get around on these second points, it seems, and they're going to have a completely loaded bank of armaments here to see if they can actually get some value out of it.
That Blossom coming in from Torque, takes down ID early on. Rafa and Mezzo are trying to deal with this, but the Graviton Earth Shatter combination a little bit off. And AZK will see if he can turn this back, but very unlikely as compLexity with all the momentum right now, just because tanks just messed up their initiation a bit there. A little bit uncharacteristic for Liquid, and compLexity opening the door to potentially finishing out this map.
It's absolutely brutal too, because they used everything and they didn't get anything out of it. Just fractions of seconds off there as the Earth Shatter came in a little bit late, and then the follow-up in the form of a Death Blossom came a little bit late. They just did not have anything they wanted actually happening in there. I mean, AZK didn't end up using his Death Blossom, but he was trying to, so right now they're going to have that perhaps up and available. No, he actually did use his Death Blossom, my bad, but they are pushing them back. Rafa did switch from the Zarya now onto the Winston. We'll see if they can hold here. 2.5 minutes left on the map.
Ooh, ID able to go in, taking down Torque right away. And again, that's the thing where ID has been a little bit lacking in points tonight, but if he can do that more consistently, not only is it good for this matchup, but it's going to be good against the matchup for C9. So Liquid buying themselves a little bit of extra time here. And now you take a look at Nicholas. Does have Dragon Strike at the ready. Graviton coming up for Harblu. Harblu almost going down right now. Almost no HP. Able to back out. And they punish Rafa, so...
Well, they need to get something off
still
of this
rolling
fight,
in, ends up picking up 2 at the very end with that nano boosted Ryan, but that's not too bad here for the offense. They're going to be able to regroup sooner rather than later. They're going to have a big combination up between the Dragon Strike and the Graviton. I think, you take a look at compLexity here, they have a big chance for a turnabout.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan for Liquid. They ended up using those to try to save Rafa, who got in a little too deep and was trying to disengage. He did end up giving his life for it, but I don't think Mez had any ideas or plans of trying to go in there and use the Earth Shatter. They did get some value out of it, but they would like to have those ultimates back.
Graviton's coming in, and here comes the Dragon. How hungry is this Dragon? Takes down Rafa, so... I guess 1 Winston and he was done. That was all he could eat. But 2 kills coming out here for compLexity. They're pushing Liquid back. Nothing too fancy, but they are getting mechanical as it is. Nicholas going off, finding 2 extra arrow kills as the fight broke down.
Other tanks got just bullied out there very early. Rafa dying put Mez in a bad position where he had to be the solo tank up there, unable to do it. They are making a lot of switch-ups right now. Diva's coming out. They are going to run a May. They're fully in stall tactics right now.
ZK trying to go in here, not getting the most of it. Ends up dying to the counter. Nano boosted Torque. 2 kills here from compLexity. compLexity now a minute to go, but in very good position to finish out this map. Late Sound Bear coming in, and they just want to finish it out as Showmeister poops 2 right off. Oh my goodness.
Joe with the double poop.
Does that play the game?
It might be. Well, Rafa trying to stall this out here. He's going to Primal Rage. That's a lot of HP onto the card, so Mez is going to come out. He does get a kill, too. Takes down Nicholas. You need to start getting those kills if you really want to be able to stall out and bring a point back. So not quite over yet as Minstrel still alive out here. Now they've got ID on the Tracer. Here comes Dehang, so they're reinforcing. Not getting kills, though.
Oh, Torque says enough of this. Goes for the cleanup on the Death Blossom. It is now just AZK versus the entirety of the Liquid or compLexity squad, and it is not going to work out in his favor. But still, 22 seconds remaining at the very end. Not a bad start to things from Liquid. They can easily beat this time. They can easily have more time to work with on a second attack should it come down to it. So Liquid can't feel too bad about how that defense went.
pretty decent, but there were some kind of mistakes and choices that they, could correct and would like to have back. I think when they did attack with Mez, especially that Earthshatter, it was only reactionary to try to keep Rafa alive, and it didn't end up even keeping Rafa alive. So, that's 22 seconds here or there that they could have bought with an Earthshatter that they maybe would have back for the map. But overall, a rather successful defense if you can force them all the way to 22 seconds in their time bank. Harblue, for the moment, on a defensive Mei. So Mei on King's Row has been a staple lately, but I'm really just happy that I do have to read teams' rosters now to know what they're running. It did not always used to be that case.
Definitely was not always the case, but you do take a look here at the defense as it comes out from Liquid, or sorry, from Liquid. Wait, I'm losing my mind. From compLexity. Okay. This is how I know it's getting to be a long cast. It's like from, what did you just say? I've gotten way too used to having breaks, but got Harblue here on the Mei, JKW on Reinhardt, Torque going to be on Zarya, Joe Meister on Lucio, Shake on the Ana, and Nicholas going to be on the Reapers. So Harblue not on that trademark Roadhog, instead going to be looking to control the flow battle on the Mei.
Yeah, the walls are going to be coming down. Offensively, they're going to run 2 DPS and 2 tanks and 2 supports. So 2-2-2 across the board. The DPS will be ID and AZK on Hanzo and Reaper, respectively. Tank play will be Mez and Rafa on Reinhardt and Zarya. The supports will be Dahang on Ana, and Minstrel will play Lucio.
All right, so offense setting up here, and we'll see if ID can continue the Hanzo tradition. Nicholas definitely had some good strikes with his opening Hanzo. We'll see if ID can do the same. Although, actually, for Nicholas, is more the mid-game Hanzo, because he stayed on for quite a while.
Yeah, and that Dragon was just absolutely game-changing for a lot of the times. They got that combo off really well. So the Mei does not block them out completely. They do rotate up over the top. Liquid has had some interesting rotations all through the day on different maps, this being one of them.
ID right now just looking for the first pick off. Slightly better poke war coming in from Liquid to start things out, but compLexity not really in trouble yet either. They're backing up, they're bending, they're not broken just yet. Torquing quite a bit of damage, and ID working his way around. Scatter arrow at the ready once more, almost gibbing Reaper there. Look at Nicholas's health, he was so close to death. Just one more little arrow would have done it. But he's got full heal, and here comes compLexity. They rotate around Liquid, they pick up 2 kills, and if they can get 1 or 2 more, this might be the clean defensive hold that they need.
Yeah, and one of the problems with trying to get kind of cute with this rotation is it takes so long. I mean, that's like two times worth of push, and if they are unable to complete it, then yeah, and they're not. They have to get out now, so they do the long rotation, get kind of cute with it. Not necessarily the value that you want out of probably your Hanzo up top, and you get him in that position, you expect him to be able to clean up a little bit. Not quite the case. They do get walled off here, not able to get entry, but they are going to enter the ultimate phase of the game here, and ID is going to have a Dragon out, but no Graviton to work with it for Rafa, as he died very early in the last fight.
And here comes Liquid, moving right in.
Beautiful bubble.
Mana boost on the AZK. AZK looking to take most advantage of this. Doesn't have the Death Blossom just yet. Gonna get caught by the Graviton, has to back out. Relatively close fight here so far, but Death Blossom will be up here for AZK in just a moment. If he wants to use it, has to get out of the Blizzard first. Reaper on Reaper, and Nicholas, just to make sure, goes for a Death Blossom of his own. A very bloody fight between both teams.
Yeah, Dahang trying to solo it out as he was able to take down a Reaper, still alive, just barely does die rather late there. So right now, compLexity's defense holding pretty strong here. They do have the ultimate still on the offense, but a minute 50 left, already a pretty successful defense for compLexity.
Dang, almost has another Mana Boost out. Dragon gonna be opening up a bit of space, and here comes AZK in once more. Still has Death Blossom at the ready. 5 versus 5, but the Sound Barrier coming in from the defense, letting them be a little bit more aggressive. They push into Liquid. Liquid, though, Sound Barrier of their own. Coming back in, AZK gonna get slept. Graviton, though, is out from Liquid, and Liquid definitely taking the reins of this fight.
Yeah, Rafa comes in, gets the boost into the Graviton, able to be his own cleanup. Only Joe Meister now who's going to try to stall it out, but not long for this Royalist Dahang takes him down again. I've always loved watching Dahang play supports, whether it's Zenyatta or this Ana. He's always in the kill feed as those supports. His DPS on support heroes is nearly unparalleled, but they do end up getting in. They're going to take this first point, trying to get very pressured. Almost got caught out there by an Ice Wall, but able to get in. Another Dragon is going to be up for ID here momentarily.
Dragon coming up for ID. And Rafa not going to have the Graviton Surge to go with it, but He's just going to throw out the Dragon now, hope to zone things out, maybe get a pity kill. Rafa on the JKW while this happens, so 5v5. Main thing here is that Liquid is still getting free push in the payload because I don't really know if compLexity wants to go that far in, although sometimes teams have, and they're thinking about it. Hex has ID, has to climb the ice wall just to get to safety there.
Yeah, they're looking to punish here. They're going very deep right now, so not necessarily the free push on the card they were looking for, as that wall came up, and good thing he can climb ice walls. Bit of vintage Jon Snow there.
Is that really a Jon Snow? I mean, I can buy it, and oh my goodness, Torque just got deleted by that scatter arrow. Builds up another Dragon. Dragon on the way. Here comes compLexity trying to counter things up here with the Death Blossom. They get very little off of that, and Liquid should be able to make quite a bit of progress on the second if it keeps up like this.
Yeah, they are burning through right now. This Mei should be cleaned up after the fact. Getting, Hardblue trying to just be annoying on the Mei does end up getting cleaned up as the rest of his team had to retreat. So far, the tank play's been really nice from Rafa and Mez, a little bit better than it was on their defense at the very least. And ID sticking on this Hanzo has been nailing some of these arrows. Now, compLexity is going to have mostly everything that they're looking for here, minus perhaps an Earthshatter and Death Blossom. But right now, Liquid rolling as they push into this point and posture up for the next engagement.
compLexity will have the ability to turn this fight on its head, but they do have to watch out for the Graviton. Rafa's going to be looking for it, ends up getting charged to the back. Graviton, though, comes out, and AZK Death Blossoming into the backline. Sound Barrier stymieing a decent part of that, but still, he does an okay amount of damage, while Nicholas doing the same in turn to his side. Nicholas being a little bit more successful at it, too. Going to the backline, but still a close fight on both sides, as ID might be dropping a late fight Dragon here, or simply backing out as Dahang and AZK will fall.
Yeah, I think one of the issues of the composition that they have on Liquid is it's because Mez and Rafa end up being alone a lot of the time. Because ID is taking this high ground a lot of the time as Hanzo, and AZK is going a little bit flanky on the Reaper, that you just don't really have the presence of just on-the-ground fights. So when they do choose to initiate onto them, it has been Mez and Rafa kind of all alone taking the brunt of it. That's why they end up dying early in some of these engagements. You can frontline a Reaper, you can even frontline a Hanzo, so just kind of staying more together might give them a better shot at this. Only a minute left to take second point.
All right, you're taking a look at ID right now. Not going to have a whole lot to set this up, but he is looking for the pickoffs in the back line once more. Not really able to get too much. Finds a Mei in his face, turns into an Ice Cube. Rip ID. Still, though, 5v5. Mezar able to find a pick of his own. Ends up getting Earthshattered, though, by JKW. And here comes compLexity. The Blizzard freezing Team Liquid. And Mezar is still up and around, though. Swing the hammer once more. Off, and Earthshatter gets two. Looking for three. Mezar bringing the tank carry right now when a few other things are failing on Liquid, and might keep them alive to get into last.
Yeah, really nice disengage there too, as the three that were being bullied out by the Mei did end up backing out while Mez was putting on his own show. So now they do have 4 up and alive on the cart. Clutch out this last point, but still 1 minute 45 seconds to take it to last.
So what we're going to see in next point is probably some TJO brother combination. Torque is going to be looking for the Graviton. Nicholas coming in over the top with the Death Blossom, if he can build in time. Torque, though, finds his target, gets 2 people in on this Graviton, but they're both tanks. No kills end up resulting from that. So kind of a waste coming out here from Torque, and now we'll see if Liquid can get the counter punish. They do have the Nano Boost in on Nicholas. Nicholas goes to the backline once more. Death Blossom in. AZK doing the same on the other side. Both Reapers only picking up 1. We'll see if compLexity can end up on top here. They did go in with more ultimates, but Liquid doing a great job of staying in.
Yeah, Torque finds himself out in no man's land, but he's somehow still alive. Mitchell does take him out. Maz trying to hard carry again. Hardblue puts himself in the ice block as he was very low. Is going to get cleaned up eventually. Liquid turning this around. AZK and Mez showing up with the kill feed together.
And what great stuff by Liquid, just because that didn't really start out the best for them. They had the Graviton in on them, they were able to react to it, they didn't lose anyone, and they turned it back on in their favor. And now, 44 seconds left, Tex. This is basically their last attempt at this. They don't really have a lot of bonus time, so they must win this fight. Another Graviton coming from Torque. He built that so ridiculously quickly. Sound Barrier, though, going to stop it, but the Blizzard moving in, does not care about your Sound Barrier. 3 kills here from compLexity, make it 4 in Liquid. Now on the hot seat, on the verge of losing this very first map. 22 seconds remaining. If they are able to keep this going, Hex, it's going to have to be one heck of an overtime push.
AZK is going to try to maybe hammer it out, get a couple shotgun shots in, and pray and hit a Death Blossom of a lifetime. Wall is going to be so frustrating, going to slow them down. Only 9 seconds. They should be able to at least get to the cart in time, but they're going to be walking right into an Earthshatter.
JKW looking for the Sword Shower. This is where teams are most vulnerable to getting fully hit by this, but he's going to get put to sleep. AZK has built Death Blossom, but he's going to get put to what in the world? It is nap time for everyone, but Nicholas gets into the back line, takes down 2, and compLexity, they will almost certainly hold here versus Liquid and take map number 1. What a showing from compLexity.
Lesky looking good. The sleep darts from Shake continue to be impressive. Just overall, generally good play. Hardblue was not necessarily always in the kill feed, but Blizzard seemed to be up every single fight. They were always having to push into Blizzard and having to play around it. And even if you're not getting caught in Blizzard, it's just a whole giant area of the map you can't even go towards. It puts so much pressure on your supports to try to keep people alive, puts them in unideal situations. It really just makes everything that much more difficult. Nicholas stole play of the match from Joe Meister, but here we are.
Full on thief mode. Look, sometimes your dragon is hungry.
What was that?
Got a good contribution there. Got a kill in the end, and there you have it.
Is that the noise Reaper makes when he goes to sleep?
I guess.
That is terrifying.
He's a rough sleeper, man.
He probably has to wear one of those sleep masks because he has snoring, sleep apnea things.
Man, like, you're saying that Reaper's the person you don't want to sleep next to at night. The guy's just like, oh man, I just didn't get any sleep last night. Do you know how hard that guy snores?
That's actually what his mask is. It's a sleep apnea mask. He just has to hook the tube up to it.
I actually feel bad for Reaper now. I mean, he's supposed to be a villain and all the rest, but sleep is important. If he's not getting good sleep, that's just not fun times.
Oh, that was a terrifying noise. All right, so it is going to be FaZe's choice, or not FaZe, sorry. Wow, it has been a long night. Liquid's choice for next map. It is up to them. And then it will be compLexity's choice for sides. But compLexity up 1-0 pretty convincingly. Not necessarily anything super flashy or giant fights or plays. Just got a little bit more out of their ultimate play in general. And the Mei play just seems super frustrating. They never had the great answer for it. Hardblue would get so low, then just into the ice block. And yes, they would clean them up, but it was 10 seconds. And those 10 seconds started adding up and adding up and adding up.
All right, so we'll have to see what the next map is here in just a moment. But Liquid coming in strong, able to take the first map away from compLexity. So compLexity, it just feels like they have been leveling up over the course of the tournament as well, where now if we get compLexity versus C9, I'm not really sure what to expect, because that's been a case where C9 has had some troubles with compLexity in the past. Not saying they'll have the troubles with them today, but that has been a more heated rivalry at times.
Oh, definitely. A couple months ago, those were the teams that were vying for top spot in North America before, you know, the envious and European invasion came over and started making our North American teams European. But definitely a history between those teams. You know, Cloud9 still half of the former Cloud9 roster. compLexity has been the stable roster for quite a long time. So they're looking, I've always said to begin this tournament, compLexity needs to reestablish themselves. You can't miss E-League and expect people to just think that, oh, you're still a top 5 team in the world. But coming out here today, beating teams like Liquid, beating teams like FaZe, goes a long way in reestablishing the brand that is this compLexity Overwatch team.
I think the unfortunate thing for compLexity is that you look at how the qualifier system for a tournament works. Unfortunately, they just picked the wrong week to slump. I think you look at top 8 in NA, even just looking at what compLexity is doing here today, it's hard to say that top 8 doesn't include compLexity, but just one of those things where they had a rough week, they weren't playing up to their potential, and as a result, they weren't able to make it in. So for them, I'm sure that weighs heavily on them, and why they're a little bit more motivated as they play in tournaments like this one where, as you mentioned, they do need to reestablish some degree of credibility.
Eichenwalde back on it, so it seems like it's been an Eichenwalde kind of night here. compLexity up 1-0 in this best of 3. This is for $2 grand and the option to turn that into 3. Loser gets nothing except have fun. It was good playing with you guys. So this is the lower bracket final of our Alienware monthly melee for September. We might be trying to get some more melees in here for one officially for October. Working on a lot of things right now. Overwatch scheduling. Not the easiest thing to do. No, it's not the easiest thing to do.
I mean, you think about it too, like we're missing teams where a lot of teams are off in the Asia realm right now from North America and EU. There's been all sorts of events, teams rescheduling, resorting their entire roster post E-League. There's a lot of change in the Overwatch scene. There's no doubt about it.
And BlizzCon coming up too. Man, it's going to be... I don't know why I always say it's going to be a busy couple months. It has been a busy like 9 months. Just non-stop Overwatch. But hey, it's Overwatch, so you can't really complain all of that much. Now, it does look like JKW's just toying with me because he's not going to play Junkrat. He'll be on Reinhardt. What do you see on the defense, though?
I'll take a look at the defense. It will be AZK right now on the Reaper, Mezvar on Reinhardt, Mincer on Lucio, Rafa going to be on that Zarya, Dehang on Ana, and ID, final piece here, on the Mei. So nothing too crazy there, and ID definitely one of the better Meis you can run into, so we'll see just how successful he is at containing complexity as they try and roll in.
Yeah, you run the Mei to try to get the wall in, so like, you know, try to deal with the tanks. Wall in a tank and then put AZK right in their face as the Reaper. I think they work well as a tank-busting combination. Was always a theory-crafting idea back when people were running double Winston, but, you know, the meta just changed. 2 single heroes are not an issue anymore. Offensively, Hardblue back on this Diva, which has been interesting. Nicholas and Torque on flanking DPS, and Tracer and Genji. Shake, of course, playing the Ana, Joemeister, Lucio. JKW taking a stint off of Reinhardt to run this dive composition as in a Winston.
Well, I think this is a case here where they definitely want to run double tanks just to create pressure on the Liquid side of things, not get trapped up as much by the Mei walls. But you take a look at ID, he's found himself a Lucio, and Diva with the protection gonna stop Lucio from getting taken out just yet. ID suddenly finds himself in a rough position and just gets taken out. Meanwhile though, look at the rest of the Liquid defense. AZK on the JKW, both teams down a player. And being down to Lucio early on is actually pretty rough. Not only are you not building a sound barrier, but it's a big part of your sustain.
Yeah, really interesting positioning there from ID, trying to be very sneaky and catch them out on the back line. They ended up trading out on the Mei, but things have stabilized. Both teams should be near full force. Hardblue getting very low. Mez gets the boost.
Mez does get the boost. He's moving in, swing the hammer, builds enough for his ultimate, but while he's trying to follow up, he ends up getting slept. Very close right now on the point as Torque moving in, able to take down 2 with the aid of that Dragon Blade, looking for a third, ends up falling. Mezvar, his hammer just so solid, looking for the third kill. Lucio has a sound barrier just to stay alive. Oh no, the melee coming in from Lucio, the final punch to a Reinhardt. We were just talking about that earlier in the night, Hex.
Yeah. Lucio's punch Reinhardt to death all time. I guarantee you it's the highest amount of hero kills for Lucio are always on Reinhardt's.
Well, it is looking like complexity is solidifying a bit here. About a minute and a half worth of defense coming out from Liquid, but Rafa, not to be denied, still moving in. 3 people in that Graviton. Takes down Joemeister, looking for more. It's a double kill. Nicholas, though, still in on the fight. Takes down Rafa. And closer than I think Complexity would like here. It was looking like Complexity was in a good shape, but Liquid off of ID, off of Rafa, able to turn this right back around, and oh my goodness, Hex, they have brought it back.
Yeah, Blizzard is a very good ultimate, gets a lot of work done there, and Dehang now going to have his boost up, so a complete reset in what looked to be great for this Complexity team. Now looking to be a little bit troublesome. Torque almost finds his way cut out. Here comes Hardblue on his hog, takes down the problem in ID.
ID is down. This is a great 65 opportunity now. AZK gonna have to compensate with the Nano Boost Death Blossom. Pops it, tries to go into the Reinhardt. Reinhardt does a great job of avoiding a lot of that damage. He does eventually fall, but he saved his team from a lot of abject disaster. But AZK is still alive, able to shift right to the back of Ana. And I'm not sure if it was enough as Liquid looking like they're in a good position. But here comes Torque. Towards the end, Dragon Blade out. Grabs Minstrel, looking for more. Reaper going to eat that blade towards the very end, and Complexity still applying the pressure, but Liquid doing a great job of just keeping up the delay.
Sorry, that Maywall launched a Reaper Corpse about 4 miles into orbit. It was one of the funnier things I've seen in a while, but they do grab this point as Dehang and ID are the last to fall. Torque really busting out his Genji as they look forward to try to get some staggered kills, leaving the supports behind to babysit the card as Torque just kind of getting poke up here. AZK is going to bully him off the roof, though. It does deflect the fire strike. Defense getting in position.
Defense game position once more. Torque hanging in and about, trying to build up another Dragon Blade. Offense with a lot of offensive momentum here. It's going to take kind of a Herculean effort for the defense to win this next fight. Not impossible, but when you're up against Sound Barrier, Pulse Bomb, Whole Hog, and all the rest, it's going to be somewhat of a pain. Mezvar, a lot of pressure on him to land this like really good Earth Shatter, but he's getting poked down before he really gets a chance.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place right now as it looks like the offense trying to get in there and find a good position.
Oh no, no one's helping Mezvar right now. He went from 500 HP to 250 to finally taken out by Torque. Just nothing saving him there as Complexity picks up a quick 4 kills, and still they're able to hang on to most of their ult stash. Yeah,
Hardblue comes around the side too, gets another hook onto Minstrel, and they're in great position on this offense. The card has not stopped. They've been absolutely undeterred, and yeah, Mez is in a tough spot. This is the worst set of DPS to play Reinhardt against because you can only protect yourself from one side, and both of them are always going to be buzzing around you like angry mosquitoes.
Torque right now moving into the back, deflect barely keeping him alive towards the end. And Team Liquid right now looking for a little bit of sanity. They do take down Harblu. Nano Boost is coming out for the side of the offense, but here comes ACK, going in the back, holding on to Death Blossom, looking for the old-fashioned kill on Ana, not going to get it, and not going to get a chance for Death Blossom either. Has to back up to happier times as the rest of his team gets him with the backup.
Yeah, nice air shatter by Mez there to really bring that fight back into winnable options for them. As now, look at these ultimates. It does switch all the way back over. Defense holding the ultimate advantage pretty strong, and I think they know exactly where this team wants to come in. They're holding that left side pretty strong because that has been where compLexity likes to progress on this map.
Oh my goodness, AZK going down right away there too, or AZK taking out Harblu right away right there, ends up with a double kill. Rafa might not even have to use the Gravitas. AZK ends up picking up 3. Rafa's just saying, you know what, I'm gonna hold on to this ultimate. Don't need to use it right now.
Yeah, they did
JKW will be the last to fall.
They did use a couple ultimates there, but when you're gonna win a fight that decisively, you make sure that you do so. So the sound barrier does come in to make sure that no one dies and has to reinforce as they want to take a little more forward position here. Had someone died, they would not have been able to get every one in position where they want to hold now, as you know, they're gonna let the cart retreat, no longer feeling the need to hold further back.
And this right now is the final opportunity for compLexity to get a good push. They are quickly running out of time. Rafa right now with the ground time. He's going to land and only get JKW, and oh my goodness, just JKW getting murdered right there in cold blood. And here comes the Dragon Blade from Torque. Already has 2, looking for 3, slicing and dicing his way right through Team Liquid and compLexity. This is the break they needed, where we'll see if they have enough time to bring this payload to the end. The defense might have some time to stagger as Lucio, Minstrel buying some extra time. We'll see if it's enough, but you have Rafa on the Diva. They are going for the stall here, Hex.
I mean, I mentioned earlier that they wanted to take different positioning up top, but I think it was a bad idea. Their defense actually looked better by denying compLexity entry to where compLexity actually came in. They are going to come out here, though. ID gets the boost on his McCree.
And Rafa right now might be thinking about knocking someone off the ledge, not going to have the opportunity. AZK, though, on the JKW, has the Death Blossom, just taking down Nicholas on the ground. 3 extra kills coming out from Liquid, and I got to say, it's good defense coming out from Liquid, but give props where props are due. That was some excellent delay by Minstrel to set up that situation.
Yeah, Lucios don't get enough credit because people just see them like dying late in fights. They're almost always the last to die, but they're buying those valuable seconds to give their team a chance. And you can stagger a Lucio without feeling too bad about it because he can get back in the fight pretty quickly based on his abilities. So they are able to bring it back. Mez had a couple really nice Earth Shatters that saved them there, specifically on second point defenses. So his Reinhardt game has been strong all night. It continues to be strong here on Eichenwalde.
Alrighty, well, taking a look here at the defense once more as it sets up again. It is going to be compLexity taking their turn, and really they have to hope for a very strong defense here. Liquid was able to put on a good defense of their own, which means that for their attack, they don't have to bring it that far. The yellow square here, that is their goal right before the second gate, so sort of a sigh of relief here for Liquid because they don't have to even worry about that very tough to crack third point on Eichenwalde.
Yeah, no, Eichenwalde last is extremely difficult, but that's kind of across the board on hybrid maps, right? Last point is always pretty tough, but this one seems to be in a class of its own, very difficult to just engage into that last room, so they are avoiding that. That is their win condition. Pretty simple. Yellow square on the ground, get it there and win. It looks like they do want to run this combo. This is something that Liquid has, you know, used to run a combo more often than not, and now teams are realizing that we can run a lot of different things, and they're just bringing in different compositions and mixing. The combo will be to hang an ID on the Pharmacy. Mez will play a Winston instead of a Reinhardt. Minstrel is on Lucio, of course. AZK is going to take a turn onto a Tracer instead, and Rafa running the Diva.
Nothing too crazy coming out there, and yeah, I mean, for ID, it's one of those cases where I don't think we've seen quite the Pharah magic from him that we've come to expect so much here tonight, but we know he has that potential. I think it's a case where teams are still figuring out where they want to mix in Pharah, and Eichenwalde, definitely one of the more friendly, or Pharah-friendly maps that is around.
Yeah, the Pharah combo is something that can just roll over teams. If you start getting that momentum going and you see a Pharah player just starting to feel it, right? And you just get in the zone, like, it absolutely can roll over maps. Dorado always comes to mind as Pharah dominant maps. ID starts it off, goes Harblu.
Harblu going down early is all sorts of bad news bears here for compLexity. They're going to be missing that control and the extra DPS, and this is a big opportunity for Liquid to strike fast and hard as they move right in. ID over the top, landing rocket after rocket, takes down Nicholas. ID on a double kill, soon to make it a triple if he has his way. Ana against the ropes right now, just jumping, desperately trying to stay alive. but not going to survive against ID as everything going well for Liquid.
Yeah, this is exactly what you expect when you're running the combo. Can we get it going like that? And then they absolutely do. 3 kills for ID as Rafa and AZK chime in with a couple kills of their own. They're in great position here, just banking up ultimates as well. Didn't have to use any, and everyone is about to get their hard blue. Does switch over to the Roadhog, Nicholas and Torque. This is full on let's kill the Pharah defense, because look at this hero composition coming out. Let's take her out of this, guys. They've identified the problem.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Nicholas on 10-6, I wonder if he did that just to like get back quicker, or they really just want to do full on air control versus Pharah. But either way, I know idea is barrage, but this will always be a case where you hit tab, see that, and just swap off, because this is not a good Pharah zone. Also a Roadhog too, which can also hook Pharah out of the sky. JKW though going to go down. ID coming to the top. Justice raining from above, gets one, ends up getting slept, and surprisingly still alive here. So ID making it work despite all these anti-air options coming in as Rafa gives him support. Liquid on a rampage right now.
Yeah, they took out to hang in there. It was a nice hook from Harblue to make sure that they couldn't res, but you don't need to res when the only person who dies is to hang. So they are actually flipping around right now, coming back to make sure that they get their Pharah in position. They want to rotate around side here. Torque takes on easy game, but that pulse bomb happens.
Oh my goodness, the pulse bomb takes down 3, and it's going from bad to worse for compLexity right now. Anything that could be going wrong for them here in this defense is going wrong, and
oh, even that hook does not end up connecting as he grabs to hang, but the wall gets in the way.
The weird thing is, I thought I heard the hook connect noise
It did
there.
connect.
Like, maybe I'm just going
didn't pull him through the door.
Well, clearly that needs to be fixed. Just have him break down the door so Roadhog gets his kill. But either way, Minstrel moving in, able to take down Nicholas, still holding on to a Sound Bear. The Sound Bear from the defense not getting much done. Minstrel on the double kill for Lucio. And Liquid, this is just looking way too easy for them right now as compLexity getting rolled right over. A final barrage coming in from ID, and that was fast. So Liquid evening up the series 1-1.
Yeah, we talked about how, you know, ID hasn't had that game on Pharah that we're used to seeing.
That was the game. I think he heard us.
Yeah, he crushed it there, and that beautiful pulse bomb to set it up. Then they get themselves in position over that doorway so that even trying to get out on the entry is bad. And then, yeah, he kind of got, you know, a little glitched on the hook there. He did hook to hang through that doorway, but to hang had fallen down. Yeah.
I was hoping.
Play the game in our hearts was probably stalling out the cart.
Torque coming in. This is where Genji is in his element. Give him a Dragon Blade, give him a Nano Boost. He already has cyber enhancements, just adding on to it. As ID says, quote, seems balanced.
I like ID's school of thought here. That's I'm a passive-aggressive chatter myself. Whenever I get killed by something I don't like, I just tell people how amazing it was and what a good player they are at Overwatch.
Alrighty, so effectively now the series being reduced to a best out of 3. Winner goes up against Cloud9 in the grand final, where Cloud9 still holding on to a 1-game advantage because they will be coming from upper bracket. But for now, I think all Liquid and compLexity can think about are each other, because these have been, well, King's Row is really close. Liquid definitely came out super strong Eichenwalde. Clearly a map that they have a little bit more practice on.
How about some Numbani? Numbani's still in the pool. We haven't seen any Numbani tonight. Hollywood, Gibraltar, and Numbani are the remaining 3. This is, of course, a best of 5, now a de facto best of 3. The next 2 maps will take it and go up against Cloud9 at a disadvantage, but it's super important, this best of 3. As we mentioned, the second place gets paid out, third place gets a participation medal. They don't. No, we don't even have those. They don't even get a participation medal. I don't want to, you know, set up false expectations.
Wow. Well, third place, yeah, I mean, would we give them a participation medal? Probably not. Although it still looks good to get third place in the monthly melee, and not as good as getting first or second.
Right.
Definitely not as good for the pocketbook, but still decent amount of prestige, and both these teams have definitely had their good games here today. But it's going to be Liquid here on the attack first, here on Hollywood, and we'll see just what they make of it.
Do you think it's time where ID is in the zone and he's just going to be running Pharah? I mean, you can run Pharah on Hollywood attack anyway. It's not as bad to run Pharah, even though like McCree and there are answers for it. It's not as bad as running it into the Widow meta.
No, definitely not. And I think Pharah in general, I think you should expect to see teams running it more and more up until the point where McCree is being used more and more as sort of a counter option select where you can shut down both a Reaper and a Pharah, because I really don't think teams are running the best anti-Pharah options, because you look at the defense that compLexity is coming out with right now. Lucio, Ana, Reinhardt, Mei, Reaper, Zarya. And yeah, the Ana can apply some degree of pressure onto the Pharah, and so can the Mei within reason, but
yeah,
it's not anywhere near as scary as having a McCree Zen, which of course you had to deal with for a long time, which is why Pharah arguably went extinct for a while.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, as you mentioned, the Ana and the Mei can pressure them, but not even really that well, especially if you're going to have a pocket, right? So, I mean, it's going to be constant healing. As long as that Mercy is on point with switching the beam over from damage to healing, that Pharah is going to be pretty comfortable in the skies. So, right now, it does look like they are going to queue up on that. Defensively, though, pretty standard stuff as you've gone over. They are going to add in the Reaper from Nicholas. Offensively, we'll give them a minute because as much as I think that an offensive Torb would be beautiful in the meta, I don't think we're going to see it. I do think Dahang doesn't really switch off and do weird stuff, so I think we will see the combo.
As much as you admire the beauty that is Torb.
Aardvark does pay off. So they are going with the combo here, so it should be an interesting battle early on to see if they end up switching off of this. compLexity is a team that I've seen absolutely struggle to deal with Pharahs before. So much so, there was one game in particular, neither Nicholas or Tor could find it. They had to put Hardblue on McCree to deal with a Pharah.
All right, you take a look at ID right now. ID is, as you mentioned, going to be on that Pharah, so we'll see just what effect he has here, but I do like the idea of running Pharah here. I don't think there's like a super hard counter to it on the side of the defense, and maybe they'll go to McCree after they get a chance, but they might lose first point after that as Ana just gets domed! A beautiful series of shots from ID to open this up with a bang. There will be no defensive now boost. Gets the double kill. Good night to compLexity. This point is going all in favor of Liquid.
You want to deal with backlines, you can run divers, or you can just run rockets that are absolutely on point. I think he hit his first 3 rockets, just absolutely crushing the Ana in the backlines, completely hamstringing.
And look at Torque, immediately to the McCree.
You have to, right? I mean, when that just happened to you at 70% already, they are doing some damage onto him, but it's really just charging up to Hang's heal too, because he's already at 90%. A nice concussion takes Shake out of the equation in the long range too, so ID's feeling it.
I feel like I lit a fire under ID unintentionally. I was like, yeah, I know his Pharah hasn't like shown up entirely. He just had to get a little bit more used to things, I suppose, as the last 2 games, just beautiful stuff from Pharah. But now he is going to be under a lot more pressure. We'll have to deal with Torque's McCree. The thing is that if it's just a Pharah versus McCree, you can focus the McCree as he's doing right now and takes down Torque. ID putting on a show right now. Gets put to sleep at the end. Still has a nano boost looking for Ana once more. And Ana just barely gonna get saved, but the resurrection comes out. ID, his terror, his story has not yet ended here, Hex.
Gets back in there, Dahang brings him up and keeps him alive up over the top. This positioning has been phenomenal for them. Joe Mustard does take down Rafa on the ground level, but ID remembers he got hit with a sleep dart and takes his vengeance on Shake.
Liquid keeping the momentum going right now. Again, not the best answers here for Pharah. Finally, Torque doming ID out of the sky, and maybe this is what compLexity needs to get a little bit of security here. They are pushing Liquid back. Liquid will have to regroup, but they're going to have Graviton up in the next fight, and a Death Blossom, most likely, also Earthshatter, so actually both teams have a lot of tools here. I think this next fight can be very instrumental as to who wins this game, just because of what a time swing it's going to be. Will it be Hardblue setting his team up? Will it be Rafa? We're going to find out here in just a moment as both Reapers, both Zaryas engage here in just a second as one Graviton is out. Rafa having patience, and I like that. They just ate the ultimate.
Just eat it, yeah.
Because the respawns are still pretty close. Now, the next fight is almost certainly going to be Liquid's. That was really smart on their end, especially after they got tagged with the first Graviton.
Well, they had a perfect opportunity to switch off this Mercy, but they are sticking on it. I think a lot of it is because Minstrel is on this Ana, so Dahang doesn't necessarily have a hero he'd even switch to, but they did come off of the Pharah now, so Mind Games and ID, the only one without an ultimate, as he did switch to McCree. But yeah, now they have the advantage, and I completely agree with you. I like that they just ate it there, knowing they were going to lose the fight. Hopefully should win this one.
Yeah, they're just moving in. They have a big advantage. Soundbearer is going to come in from the defense, but they don't have a whole lot else. But hey, tell you what, Nicholas able to take down Mezar, Hardblue on the ID, and 3 kills from compLexity as they hold Liquid back. So Liquid, the only thing about that though, Liquid didn't exactly open with their best hand. They didn't use the Graviton, and it probably hurt them as compLexity punishes them for perhaps a little bit of ult economy greed on the side of Liquid.
And now they're using all their ults, and still this kill feed is looking very, very blue. Minstrel does take down Nicholas finally, but AZK probably not long for this world as he has to retreat out of there. Minstrel taken down as he tries to get out. I think you need to almost completely revamp. What are you running here? Dahang does switch. He's on the Mercy, but still, they are switched up as far as their supports. Minstrel does come up. He's going to be on Zenyatta. Yeah, they're moving it. They're rotating it now. Minstrel will come on as as Lucio to hang goes over to Ana.
Let's keep this moving. Fire! Огонь по готовности!
Crushed. Crushed. They got absolutely crushed. I'm not even in love with the defensive graviton, but I guess Rafa wanted to switch anyway. Because it just seems like a panic thing that you're already all clumped up and then clumping the other team up in front of you and not getting the optimal position because they just had Torque in the back lines just throwing damage into that. Right now, compLexity still with the ult advantage. Mez has changed games with Earth Shatters though, and he's got that ready. Oh God.
Target practice.
What are you idiots doing out there? We're going the wrong way.
My ultimate is charging.
Get here.
Yeah.
Let's get you healed up.
Yeah, they have to win the next 2 to 3 fights for Liquid here. They've got to start it off with one. It hasn't looked good so far for him. AZK comes in with the Death Blossom, gets completely shut down by JKW's Earth Shatter. Yeah, to hang, getting a little cheeky, trying to get some damage in and try to get his ult charged. He's at 62%, 30 seconds left on the clock, and a dry bank of ultimates for this Liquid team. They are going to be pushing into a Graviton as well, and so far, every time they get Graviton, they get absolutely cleaned up. Shake again with his ult too, so not looking great for Liquid, but they have no choice. They have to just keep going, and like I said, they have to win about 3 fights here.
Also, apparently my microphone did weird things. It has been fixed. But here we go, last fight underway. Rafa opening things up here with the D.Va looking for anything, doesn't really get it, and it's back and forth on both sides, but compLexity still with more momentum. Nicholas in the back, no one on him right now, takes down another 2. Death Blossom not to be on the way, and uses Death Blossom just for Rafa. Why not? He's one of the last people remaining here. Rafa, perhaps soon to fall. Torque going to finish him off, and compLexity, after what was an incredibly rough start, able to bear down and have an excellent hold here against Team Liquid.
Yeah, just at the end, AZK comes in, and that is kind of that map in a nutshell. He comes in, charged Anabuz, and then just shot in the head. As good as that first point was, I cannot believe they were able to bring it back. You have to give a ton of credit to Torque, switching over to the McCree, forcing them off of the Pharah that had done so well for them. But then he got some of the most successful Deadeyes I've seen in quite a while. Deadeye is not necessarily the 3 and 4 kills it used to be. More zoning and getting 1 or 2 people are happy with nowadays. But he got a couple 3-kill Deadeyes in there. And when Torque and Nicholas are both the ones in the kill feed constantly, compLexity is going to be playing well, and they're going to be winning maps.
All right, so I'm not sure what happened in terms of me getting muted there. I guess it just was like our microphone decided to die midway through, but it is back, guys. There is a delay and all the rest, but yeah, it was. More importantly here, the game itself for compLexity was able to have quite a hold. Liquid now in the hot seat where really they're going to have to counter a good hold by compLexity with an even greater hold on first if they really want any hope of winning this game.
Where is this yellow box? Not even around, well, I mean, it's right through the band. Actually, it's further than I remember it getting, so about halfway through stage on second. So, yeah, I mean, first point holds, when was the last time we've seen a first point hold on Hollywood? Although, I mean, looking back, I guess it was compLexity versus FaZe, almost shut out FaZe on first point, or am I thinking of that right? The one we jumped into halfway through?
Yeah, I think that was the case. I might be losing my mind because we did jump into it very late, but yeah, it was FaZe where FaZe just barely came back in that map, and compLexity had a very good hold going, so either way, you gotta like compLexity's odds going forward here, where all they need to do, take point A and just have a leisurely stroll up second, and Liquid, back's definitely against the wall going into this game.
Absolutely, and they're going to run a Mei on this defense because they know they have to hold it pretty well. Nothing really out of the ordinary on either side. Nicholas and Hardblue on the kind of unconventional combo of the Hanzo and Roadhog, but getting vision for hooks is a crucial aspect of this, so we'll see where that Sonic Arrow comes in.
Our blue right now moving up, looking for the first hook pick off, where, again, we'll see if on the other side here, if Rafa decides to adopt what Zoms is doing, just save his shields for Harblue. But for now, Harblue on the prowl, looking for the all-important first pick. Oh man, denied by the ice wall. But the problem is that hook is a 6-second cooldown, so he's going to get another attempt at this here in just a moment. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Ends up getting Lucio there, almost getting the full pick off. What a ridiculous hook towards the end, and JKW still going to take out Rafa.
Oh god.
First 3 pickoffs here to compLexity, and Hex, they are rolling just fine.
Yeah, they chose to engage up that stairwell, put them all in a hallway, and giving themselves almost no retreat options. I'm not in love with trying to fight up there. I mean, it is a problem letting them just have that high ground and rain above you, but there should be maybe a better option to just retreat. Trying to fight in a hallway, I think, is always a bad idea. They get punished for it because the charge came in and took down Rafa immediately.
Really did, and now you take a look at the offense. They're going to keep it moving forward. Torque has the Graviton set up. Mesra being really aggressive here with this nano boost. We'll see if it pays off, but even if it does, the respawn's right there, Hex. How much is Liquid really gaining off of this?
They know they lost first, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I think they just want to buy as much time as possible because the payload destination is really close, but I don't know. JKW with the immediate push showing why this isn't the greatest idea. Immediately takes down 3, has an Earth Shatter, and this is going to be a lot of free progress here for compLexity as they move it up. And they have Graviton into Dragon Strike. My word.
One of the first times I've ever seen a team get that aggressive on the chase after losing first like that, because even if you do get the cleanup on the way back through, you're going to have to fight into their spawns. They can just chill by spawn and be shooting out the door at you. So they all got cleaned up by JKW as well. They're close. Here comes the Blizzard.
Graviton going to be coming in here from Torque. Dragon coming in a little bit late, but does devour Rafa and Idea. 2 kills here from Nicholas, looking for the Reaper pick in the back. Reaper crouching, trying to stay alive. AZK not going to be successful at that. And compLexity now on the verge of taking this map. A great flick shot by Nicholas. And Minstrel, he's been a master of delaying, but he would have to delay just way too long in this case as compLexity bites right back and takes Hollywood away from Liquid. Up 2-1, 1 map away from facing C9 in the Grand Finals.
There, I mean, Nicholas has been great on most of his heroes tonight, and a nice little Hanzo game for him as well. Hardblue, of course, hit his hooks, and I don't know, it was a weird engagement. I think, you know, they knew they were in a rough spot, so you have to take chances like that, and hopefully you clean up everyone, and then they come out of spawn, and you get a couple more kills, but an interesting engage from Liquid. Now, match point for compLexity.
Boy, the game coming out for Torque here, and this is just where they got the clip they're looking for. Just a little bit too clumped up was Liquid there. They went for the punish, got punished in turn.
Yeah.
And now they find themselves facing elimination as we go to the next map.
Well, next map could be Numbani, and it could be Gibraltar. So either one of them is a possibility. Liquid's choice for the map, of course. I'm rooting for Numbani because I haven't seen any Numbani today, and it's nice and bright and sunny, and it will, you know, give me a little jolt of energy.
Indeed. So hang on, I'm busy doing terrible Twitch memes. Give me 1 second. People have noticed that Uncle Swag isn't here, so I had to start the SM Work train.
Oh,
one of the older Twitch memes around, but. Yeah, I mean, back to the series right now, this is definitely looking good for compLexity. It's weird because we were just talking about how improved Liquid was looking just yesterday, and compLexity definitely bringing it. So it just sort of shows that there's a lot of variability in Overwatch right now, period, full stop, especially among some of the top teams.
Yeah, it's been great to see that you can't really pick a game, right? We haven't even been trying today to do predictions and results, and I'm glad because I'd be on record and be wrong most of the time. I think tonight has been all over the place, and these teams are all very close to each other. My big question, I guess, is, you know, we have a lot of, like, you know, the top tier-ish teams, but how would these teams stack up against NB and Fnatic? My gut instinct, you know, not too long ago, I actually thought that NB and Fnatic were probably a far distance ahead of these teams. I'm not entirely sure of that anymore. I think the talent golf and the work that a lot of these teams are putting in, even without gaming houses and things like that, is making it so that the top 5 is extremely variable in both regions.
It really is, and it's one of those things too where you think about Liquid, where Liquid felt really close to Fnatic when you looked at how things went down in E-League, and now Liquid having troubles against compLexity, a team that didn't even qualify, even though, again, as mentioned, that was somewhat more of an anomaly on their part, but still, it's just cool to see how close these teams are right now. And I feel like we've been repeating that line a lot, but it's true. Just where it makes for more entertaining games where you don't go in immediately knowing, oh, this team's going to win for sure. Although it does make you wonder in terms of tournament formats, maybe too many best of fives, where at one point it was totally fine in terms of time scheduling. Yeah. Today, going a little bit on the long side, but hey, you guys do get extra Overwatch. It's just the players, and I guess maybe to some extent the casters that end up a little bit on the fatigue side.
But it is also good because, you know, you and I have watched enough Overwatch that we usually can figure out, like, who's going to win, like, even if we're not projecting our predictions on a stream. Now, like, I'm getting a second win because I honestly don't know. I mean, and then I want to see whoever wins this actually against Cloud9 because, again, I honestly don't know. It's not like we're running a lower bracket and going into a buzzsaw that it was like former IDDQD, the team days, you know, like, so at least it's exciting for us. And yeah, I know we've repeated that a lot, but there were times in Overwatch where you kind of knew what a tournament was going to look like before it happened. If I had shown you my bracket, how I thought this tournament was going to go out, I would just have to, you know, light it on fire and throw it out the window because it was completely wrong.
I tend to agree. If my bracket for this, I definitely would not have had FaZe going out before the grand finals. I can tell you that much. Even though FaZe, I feel like, has been so, like, ridiculously up and down where at this point you have to almost put an asterisk by the many tournament predictions. You know, by the way, FaZe could get knocked out of the tournament at any round, just for the record.
Yeah, totally.
Because they really are just highly variable in what they do. But take a look here at the defense coming out from the side of Liquid. It is going to be Dehang here on the Ana, Mezar on the Reinhardt, AZK on Reaper, Minstrel going to be on Lucio, ID going for the Hog, and Rafa on the Zarya. So we'll see how this defense works out. ID going to be looking for those picks to keep complexity off balance. And I think a key thing to note here is maybe they took notes of the last time we saw Harblu on this map, but if Rafa and ID are working together, that should be an auto win because you take a look at complexity, they don't like running Zarya with Roadhog a whole lot, and if you don't run Zarya with Roadhog, your own Roadhog-Zarya combo can really give Harblu fits. Yeah,
just looking at the composition on paper, this is definitely a server room defense running 3 tanks. They don't have anyone holding high ground here, so a little bit different than what we've seen tonight. It's going to give pretty free entry to Torque to just, he's going to call it out for his team that top is totally safe, take the car as far as you want, and then they're going to probably switch. A huge hook comes out from Harblu. They do kill Rafa, even though he put the shield up just to focus fire on him, so that is an enormous hook to start this out for complexity.
Harblu getting his prize, gets the other prize of the 1-2 combos, but ID able to turn on AZK going in. And complexity, they started out strong with that Rafa pick, but I wonder if it's all blowing away right now because now it's a 5v4 in favor of the defense, and the defense looking none worse for the rare as Rafa gonna rejoin this fight.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be wary of what's on the other side of that hook. Sometimes you just hook and you're danger. Reminds me of like the old cartoons where Cat's trying to bait in a mouse, and on the other end of like his trap is a dog, and it's just smiling. So he does hook in the opposing Roadhog there, gets shot in the face, so be careful what you hook for.
And look at Harblu right now. Let's see how much Rafa ruins his day with these shields. I'm just curious if teams are learning, adapting on the fly. Harblu is going to be coming in around the left, looking for the sneaky hook. This is standard Roadhog here from Harblu, where he's always looking for these crazy ways of going in, and the defense they collapse really hard. Rafa able to take down JKW, and Harblu finds himself a little bit out of sorts, not really able to do anything in that fight because of how hard Liquid went in.
They did not really get the value they wanted there, though. It was a pretty decent disengage from complexity as AZK was going in. He had Death Blossom ready. They boosted him up, but they were able to pull back very quickly. He didn't even use the Death Blossom, which I guess is nice for them, but they wanted a lot more out of that Ana boost. Again, it is Ana boost, so there is something to be said about just throwing it away and trying to take a chance on it.
Alright, and here comes Dragonblade coming back. Torque looking to do some damage, looking for a little bit more, but getting stymied. Harblu and JKW able to take down ID and Mezar respectively, so Harblu coming out a little bit on top there. 3 kills here for complexity. They're able to break this Liquid defense, but again, Liquid buying themselves a lot of time here, buying themselves about 2.5 minutes, a little bit under. And at the very least, it looks like they will be able to get a good setup here in Hangar. Although, AZK has to be careful not to get caught out. Yeah. This is one of those spawns where it's hard to get back into position. Oh no! Harblu able to stop it from reinforcing, and that is a bit unfortunate. People actually hate that spawn. Just because if you lose the point, you're just so dead coming back out of it. Even as Reaper with Wraith form.
These second spawns are the same case, too. It's been a big topic of, you know, ire from the pro scene of spawns in Gibraltar need to get changed, because there's a lot of times where you just lose players, and that becomes the snowballing nature of Gibraltar to some extent.
There comes AZK, Nano Boost on the way. Gonna be rolling into the sound barrier though, not getting as much as he wants. The counter sound barrier though, on the way here from Liquid. They are all in on this fight. 5v5 right now, but going a little bit more in the fair. But here comes Torque in the backline, takes down Minstrel, looking for more. Gonna have to put the blade away, but compLexity not out of this fight here just yet. Torque living on the wild side, almost no HP left, still in there somehow, and is gonna force Reaper out. So compLexity, it was super close down to the margins, but it's looking like they're putting Liquid on the ropes.
Yeah, Joe Meister got a punch in onto Mez. Of course, Lucio punching Reinhardt's. We've seen it all over tonight. They are going to come in and try to pressure this out. They do have the tanks here. They got the body and meat on the point. Mez takes down Hardblue to start it off.
That's coming in. ID gonna go for a snooze as the rest of compLexity collapsing here on the car, trying to do damage while that Roadhog is taking a nap. Nicholas almost with the Death Blossom, grabs it, was mashing Q to get it out right away. But here comes the counter. Death Blossom coming from AZK, doesn't really do too much. But ID able to take control, gets a double kill on the whole hog, and AZK in the end will be cleaning this out. compLexity so close, yet so far.
AZK and Rafa were trying to bring it back. It is just Hardblue on the Tracer, but there is reinforcements for Liquid. They are able to stall it out, now in position here on the defense. They're going to rotate around and take this high ground, knowing that they're probably not going to get backdoored. It's been a while since I've seen a back cap happen in Overwatch, and teams generally just not afraid of it as that cart does start retreating. Ultimate advantage is narrowly in favor of compLexity, as Shake, of course, has his Ana ultimate up at the ready.
That Ana ultimate will be up and ready to go sooner rather than later. AZK right now just booping and bopping around.
Take your medicine.
Torque though gonna have a Dragon Blade up for this next fight and a Nano Boost. They might actually put it on Torque here, and they do! In comes Torque once more with the Dragon Blade, gets hooked, but he has the Nano Boost on him and a sound barrier. You don't get more buff than this as a Genji. Does take down Minstrel, ends up beating the Mezra Earthshatter though. As AZK and Mezra are trying to bring this back. Nano Boost of Liquid Zone. Here comes AZK, moving right in. Death Blossom coming out towards the end. And will this be enough? Will this be the defense Liquid was looking for? And Hex, they might have done it. They're so close.
Yeah, I mean, we throw around the term like game-changing and fight-changing ultimates a lot, but tonight, Mez's Earthshatters have been nothing short of amazing. Every single time he waits for the perfect moment. It's usually about halfway through a fight when they absolutely need the course of the battle to be turned over, and he has hit clutch Earthshatter after clutch Earthshatter. Now they're in perfect position. This is where you want to set up on Gibraltar defense.
It really is, and now there's only 1 minute left here for compLexity, so compLexity... Oh my goodness, do they have it? It's 0.59, there was Shake was so close! Not quite able to bring it there, but it... Not the worst idea coming out from compLexity still, though. Liquid with a bigger advantage, and Mezra knocking down 4 people with the Earthshatter. Only Nicholas gonna fall off that. But here comes AZK, still has Death Blossom at the ready. compLexity having to back out. They just want to go for one more final attempt. The Ninja there, though, it was nice. I mean, 0.59. We haven't seen that in a while in comp either, so it would have been cool to actually see that work out.
Well, it did pull them out of their position on the high ground, too, so it did do the work in initiating the fight, but again, Mez just with another beautiful Earthshatter halfway through that fight, completely turning the tide, knocking down 3 with the cleanup. Is going to be the last push, not even going to be a grand one from compLexity. Do have everyone in, here comes the boost.
And in response to the boost, here comes AZK, dancing in, helicoptering from the top. Nano Boost, Death Blossom, doesn't get too much off it. compLexity still hanging on here. Hardblue with hooks, has 1, has 2. It's a double kill for Hardblue. Eye of the Tiger right now for compLexity as they try and stay alive here in overtime. Hardblue, though, will fall. AZK and Minstrel, the only ones remaining on the point here for Liquid. It is a 2 versus 3. AZK able to take down Shake. Now, Minstrel, how long can he delay? Not very long. Gets punched in the face. Lucio on Lucio violence. But ID, he's made it back to the point here, Hex.
Mez is back as well, and he's going to have Earthshatter up at the ready. He does have to use it before JKW gets there. Nicholas and JKW trying to get around here. They do sleep JKW momentarily, but now it is in favor of Liquid as the reinforcements are so much quicker. Nicholas does rewind out, but they rewind away from the cart. Liquid holds.
And now for compLexity, a team where if they were to get a big hold here, they would stamp their ticket into the grand finals. They're a little bit on the hot seat because they have to overperform. It's more on the rare side that a team will stop another team on Gibraltar, at least before last. But they're going to have to stop them before they complete out Hangar, which possible, and we've seen it plenty of times before, still definitely puts compLexity at a distinct disadvantage here on map number 4.
Well, as you said, it is a set map for complexity here. Liquid with a pretty good defense there on the showing. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to openly root for map 5 because it's going to be Numbani, and that would be awesome. So Liquid in a good position here, just clutching out that defense. You cannot say enough about how well Mez played there, just getting back time and time again. Those Earth Shatters are always on point, always a pivotal moment in the fight to bring them out. And then just having them up all the time means he was doing so much good damage. Rafa also, his survivability on Zarya is, I think, a beauty. He's always like toe-to-toe with these other tanks, and his AD and his kind of twitching on his just movement ability has been impressive. And when you have the tracking that Rafa has, you're not losing any of your DPS by doing all the dodge moves that he does. So a good showing out of Liquid there, and now all they have to do, just take it to second point, and we'll be going in Numbani.
It might all be decided on the Bonnie, but for now, there is still hope here for the side complexity. And I'm going to note something here for Heartblue. Normally, this is his bread and butter, the Go Roadhog here on the defense, but I feel like they know the team's been keying into it a little bit too much here today, and props are props is due. I like the switch up here the May. Just if nothing else, if something hasn't been working as well as you want, switch it. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, he played an okay Roadhog. It wasn't, I mean, it was a fine Roadhog for anyone. It wasn't Heartblue's Roadhog, right? You expect him to just be dominating games. That's how good his Roadhog has been in the past. So, definitely variable compositions here. Defensive May is interesting, and it looks like they are going to just completely prioritize a server room hold as well.
Alrighty, so we'll see just what Heartblue has in mind here with these ice walls. A little bit of a different approach here, not looking for the pickoffs, and I kind of wonder if we're going to see ID stick on the hog here if they're not successful early on. I feel like in response to the May, we might even see a Pharah come out here from ID, because I think they went Roadhog for the Roadhog v Roadhog battles with Rafa support, and if they're not getting that, I think they might switch up.
Yeah, Pharah is great against May, but the collapse is coming in. The wall, not necessarily what they were looking for, is they don't get anyone on to the wrong side of it. Wall is going to collapse, and Mez goes in.
And this is an opportunity here for Liquid. They get the hook they're looking for, pulling things back. They set up with a good engagement. Wall comes out a little bit later into the fight, but AZK, he's already picked off one. Torque onto Mezar. 5v5 right now. What an early Earth Shatter coming in from JKW. Landing the fire strikes he needed to set that up early. Usually I don't see that in the first fight, but Liquid, they're still in this. AZK take out JKW, still in and around the payload, and complexity definitely not out of the woods here yet.
Well, I mean, JKW hit the Earth Shatter that changed the game, but you have to give props to his support for keeping him alive, because he got hooked early and focused down. They, by all rights, should have been eliminated, but the support boosts came out for both of them to get him back to full health. The only reason he was alive is they focused all of their support healing onto them, keeping that tank alive and allowing him to get the Earth Shatter. And you're absolutely right. Great call. ID does switch over to the Pharah here. No Mercy support, though, so a lot is going to be on Dahang, keeping him alive over the top.
Yep, and I think they just won the Roadhog v Roadhog battle, so that is why you're seeing ID with the swap up here. Interesting to see teams just looking for these certain matchups, but either way, you look at Liquid right now. AZK holding on to the Death Blossom. Dahang has built up Nano Boost. We all know what that means. AZK gonna be glowing super bright here in a moment, looking to bring pain to the side of complexity. Torque, though, trying to open things up first with the Graviton of his own, and AZK going right in, takes down Joe, looking for more, but it's very back and forth between the two teams. Torque did a lot of damage with that initial Graviton strike.
Minstrel with the Yana boost on him is going ham, takes down another Joe. Minstrel takes down Heartblue and Shaky's looking for a little bit more. He's actually just gonna fail.
Minstrel just running away, saying, you know what, Zarya 73% charge, don't want to fight this, but look at reinforcements. Liquid right now, a little bit closer than the complexity reinforcements. I kind of feel like Torque, Joe, and JKW, they need to back out. This is an uneven numbers fight. Soundbear coming in just at the last moment. Here comes Nicholas. Gonna Wraith form first. Going to the back line. Goes for the Nano Boost into the Death Blossom. Grabs two at the very end. And Liquid's brief window slamming in their faces. Now complexity, Hex, a minute 10 away from eliminating Team Liquid right here, right now, and moving on to face Cloud9.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They just wanted to get the combination of Graviton into Earth Shatter, but the wall from JKW was nice, kept his shield up, denied that Earth Shatter. So just the Graviton and Earth Shatter, two of the most impactful ultimates in the game, ended up getting nothing. They've only got Barrage at the ready here, a naked Barrage at that. Going to be hard to do. Maybe Rafa can hook him up with a shield. He's going to try to get cute ideas and rotate around the backside after he cleans up Heartblue here.
This is the last chance here for Liquid. If they fail this, they're almost certainly going to lose the game. So ID gonna need to land the barrage of his life. Justice Rain from above does take down JKW early on, so it's a good start here from Liquid. Momentum in their favor. Not a lot in the complexity bank in terms of ultimates, as Nicholas gonna bite the dust. 6v4 now for Liquid as they are fighting to stay alive in this tournament. Next, for now, it looks like they're gonna be successful.
Yeah, they're gonna get the points, and just based on kind of bullying them through server room. Hardblue comes on to try to stall out, but it is too late in the ice block. You are just gonna die anyway. Rafa and ID combined to take that out. This switch onto Farah has worked wonderfully for them, and it's not necessarily the giant barrage or anything like that, but it's just a hero that they don't have an answer for right now, and now great positioning on top of the shuttle can be able to span through this door. They're gonna have to wait for JKW to get back before they can even think about coming in here.
So let's note the stakes here. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, about 4 pushes here from Liquid. One of those 4 must be successful if they want to live. And here comes AZK, moving a nano boost, gonna get answered by the Earth Shatter. AZK also getting frozen on top of it, so that's some containment coming out, even though Liquid does get the first kill in that fight. So
3 kills
AZK
now.
and ID coming in over the top. It's still going well for Liquid here, Hex. And that's a problem with the Reaper setups right now, is that even when you stop the Reaper, you invest so much in stopping him that the rest of the team can just pick you apart. And now Liquid on the verge of forcing a map number 5 right now. The payload is on the way. Torque trying to run into McCree. That's not going to work, but he has no other choice. Hardblue gets in onto a point and another barrage. Devastating coming in from ID, going to clean the board. And it is looking like we will, in fact, be heading to map number 5.
Beautiful. I really just love how, and we talked about it all night, how it's great to see rosters being different, how many different heroes are viable, but this is the reason why, because I think this is when Overwatch is at its best. You get picks into counter picks, into swaps, into changes, and it used to be a little more variable where teams would always have to run different stuff based on which phase of the map, and a lot of it came down to how crisp are your transitions, are you picking the right hero for the right situation. That switch onto Farah absolutely won them that first point that they needed to, clutching it out, and yeah, Liquid takes it. We're going to game 5 in our best of 5. Winner goes to the upper bracket, loser goes home.
So one thing I've realized here, just looking at the chat, like every now and then we've had reruns from time to time, but it's pretty rare. I will say that as of right now, as of 11:30 Central Time on October 7th, this is live. I know there's a lot of arguments back and forth where things are going, but we have had channels in the Overwatch scene that literally just run reruns 24/7. I feel like it hurts people's perception of like when a tournament is actually on sometimes. Yeah. Like I don't know. Well, I mean, because I've seen that a lot in chat, especially as we get later. It's just like, you don't really have a tournament going on this late. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we are the madmen who are still awake. It's only 11:30. It's not even midnight here, so I guess we have the benefit of being Central Time at least, so it's not not past the witching hour for us. As we still have one more set after this, Grand Finals incoming. But, you know, it's Friday night. What else are you going to do on Friday night? So it's Overwatch time. We're going to Numbani. Liquid versus compLexity. Haven't seen Numbani at all tonight, and I don't know. I want to see more Farah. I've always loved watching Farah play, but I also love watching counter Farah play too. I think she's one of the heroes that you have to answer. It forces an answer, and then can you answer the answer? And it just becomes the beautiful orchestra that is Overwatch composition picking and counter picking.
Absolutely, and you take a look here right now. We'll see what we see in Numbani, but this is effectively the same as the first set between compLexity and Liquid because they went to 5 the first time around. They're going to 5 the second time around, and wouldn't have an A or the way, although things are running a little bit late, where it's testament to how Overwatch has come, though, because a lot of times in these tournaments, we would have a similar setup and it would go much quicker because you'd have more 3-0s, 2-0s, etc. But this has been a slog between all the teams.
Yeah, we also started a little later than we usually do, but I don't know. If you can't tell, I definitely have my second wind after that Liquid map there, and just the switch-ups going. And then, you know, whichever team comes out of this, I think they've all been running kind of different styles and brands, but then they have to go against this new Cloud9 team that is just been crushing it. I mean, they 3-0'd Liquid. This Liquid team, it's just been such a back-and-forth tournament. It's been so fun to watch, not quite over yet. But yeah, after this, we still get to see whoever comes out of this bloodbath go against the Cloud9 team. Should be great. We did have a poll, I think, on one of GosuGamers articles, and the question was, do you think all 3 of the stand-ins for Cloud9 will be signed to the official roster? And I think it's at like 89% no.
So I think there's always like the risk with Mendo, where the reason why Mendo's had trouble in the scene is not because he is a bad player, but because he's had trouble sticking to team schedules and getting along with teammates. So Mendo has had really good results at C9 in this tournament. That's no guarantee that Mendo is going to be on C9. I say that with the utmost love and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
It's just Mendo has a really inconsistent reputation for that. I think in terms of C9 roster, what we've seen, probably the biggest shoe-in to be with them long term, especially given his performance at E-League, would have to be Rib. Like, Rib, I think it's very likely that it's going to be, if he doesn't join C9, it's probably going to be more of Rib's decision rather than C9 saying, no, we don't want you.
Yeah, you would definitely think. Also, like tank free agents are seemingly hard to find. I've talked to teams where they're trying to shuffle around rosters. They're like, do you know any good tanks? I'm like, not that aren't on teams. You know, good tank play can be very difficult to find in a tank that will play your style too. I think, you know, the risk with Mendo, and I talk to Mendo all the time. I love Mendo. He's a great player, but the risk always is that he has been a free agent for a while and for a reason. And if you do like sign him, I think if anything, he'll be on a pretty long trial period, you'd think, because you don't want him to be on his best behavior, sign him to a contract, then be like, oh, now we have issues and now we have to rip up a contract. But that is all for future talk.
At some point, I would say, yeah, ripping up a contract is a big deal. In esports, contracts are still treated like they're toilet paper. Like, it's actually terrible.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because here's the problem is that up until you get to the point where players are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and all the rest, which they're not. I mean, players are getting pretty decent compensation right now, but they're not like at crazy high levels of compensation. Up until you get to that point salary-wise, you just hit this area where it's more of a pain to pursue people legally and more of a cost than it is just to let them go. Like, the cost of legal action well outweighs the cost of like making sure the contract is honored. So
yeah,
that's where there's definitely some degree of issue in esports. I think you're getting away from that in more established games where there's a lot more money going in and all the rest. And don't get me wrong, like Overwatch is clearly heading on that track where you will have to respect contracts sooner rather than later. But I'm just saying, this is the case in esports, at least early on, where so many contracts in early Overwatch are just like, don't care.
Yeah, we had a small issue, right? Who left Creation to go to Rogue?
Nox, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Nox. Nox and Toxican ended up switching spots there because Nox was under contract and then he just left, and that was kind of the situation. It's like, it's not worth it to pursue legal action. It's just not.
Well, here's the thing too, and when you go full lawyer, the story from Rogue is that, well, Creation had voided the contract, but that's a case where Creation will say, no, we didn't. Like, that's insane. But then it's like, what do you have to do? You have to prove it in a court of law. You're not going to go to court over a smaller contract like that. So in the end, Creation was just sort of SOL in that case.
Yeah, well, okay, lawyer talk did make me kind of tired, but we do have Numbani here in the offense. They're running this.
This is the law channel, Hex. I know what you're talking
apparently. About. Didn't pass the bar, but I know a little bit. Anyway, ID and Tahang are on that combo. They are running pretty divey comp here. This is the Numbani composition. Rafa and Mez going to be playing the divey tanks here as they try to get in on Numbani.
All right, so ID right now moving in, showing us his fair once more. There's not a great answer for it either, so this is a case where ID could really feast upon complexity. Harblu, though, able to take down AZK early on. It's already a 65, so ID got him to do a disproportionate amount of work right now. And take a look, complexity hiding away from this fair. And oh, God, the shot onto Torque. It's like, Torque's like, I'm safe on the wall, right? No, you're not. AZK is going to be back to this fight in just a moment, and Harblu putting an end to the beast, and maybe complexity will be able to regroup here, but what a vicious shot from ID.
Yeah, Tahang going down is definitely going to spell an end to this push. A very late hook on a Minstrel goes behind the bus. Pretty rough stuff there, and as good as that looked initiation-wise, they are now kind of a full reset. 3 minutes on this offense, and this has always been kind of an issue for Numbani. They are switching off and not going to get the resurrection.
Oh, they're doing this. They're doing the counter. This is exactly what we were talking about before, but they see that they're running, Harblu's running Roadhog without Zarya. What do they go to? They go into Zarya Roadhog. So Harblu is about to have a very rough time if Liquid does this correctly.
They get pretty free entry into the stairs. They miss the hook over top and trying to rotate on over this edge. Got to be very careful.
Harblu just gets knocked off. Rip Harblu, and this is a big opportunity for Liquid here as they move it forward once more.
Shake was able to get the boost off just in time onto Torque.
Oh, the hook. Oh, wait. He didn't even get the blade out. He had to try and bring the blade out again, and Rafa did not give him that opportunity, so big hooks coming out of ID here as Liquid looking a little bit more dominant at the point, but they don't have it yet. Nicholas is still in and around, darting about, being a pest, and it's a possibility that we see complexity end up bringing this back.
Yeah, I'm never calling Numbani early until I've done it before, but no, Torque did not get that blade out earlier, so now he comes back in, does have the blade out. Hard Blue and Torque are going to bust out both their ultimates, and again, this is Numbani. The longer a fight goes on, the worse it is for an offense. The best way to win Numbani is to just win 6, just clear 6 as the offense and hope for it, because your reinforcements are forever away. There's a reason that these buses are broke down in the streets, as they ran out of gas going from spawn to first point.
That's our Blue right now. Gets the hook right onto Rafa. Not gonna get the finish it right ahead, but will back out. And again, this is gonna be the challenge for Blue right now, is seeing if he can get a hook and deal with Rafa's shields at the same time. So here we go. Comes in from the back, catches the hang. There will be no shield for him, but the sleep comes out, and this is gonna give Liquid the opening they need to get onto this point once more. ACK though, not getting too much off that Death Blossom. Blue woken from his nap, and compLexity dealing with this pretty darn well.
You're powered up. Get in
Yeah,
there.
they're continuing to get a couple kills and just not the decisive wipe you need from your offense here on Numbani. AZK does come in. AZK and Rafa combined for 3 kills, so that's really nice. Joe Meister still trying to make a stall-out case here, but back against the wall for Liquid. They do get a couple more kills. This should be it, but again, it's Numbani, so I will just hold my opinion until something actually happens on the clock.
Torque was trying to go in for the Miracle Dragon Blade, wasn't going to get it. AZK takes down 2, and Liquid finally looking like they're going to get this through. Final hook comes on Nicholas, and I gotta say, if there's a part where that defense got away from compLexity, there is definitely where they ended up nano boosting Nicholas, only for him to die all of a second and a half later.
Right away.
Yeah, that was it was rough, but he did end up, I don't know, getting something done. I've been super impressed with Shake, because even when he's getting bullied out of the back lines, which he was in some of those very first kills, he's still able to get damage and healing, and he actually moved his way around a Winston so he could get a nice heal dart in, but we do have a drop. There goes to Hang.
The hang is gone, and this is not a good situation here for Team Liquid. It took them a lot to get through to begin with, but there's nothing we can do about that right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, pause button is on the PTR. Not quite live yet, but we're getting there.
That takes away a lot of the players love Starkey about the pause button, but if it is on PTR, that's sort of like, well,
yeah.
you can only start go so much. It's like, well, it's coming. Either way, Soundberry gonna be coming in here from the side of compLexity, and Liquid definitely back against the wall. A perpetual power play for compLexity that might just seal this tournament victory for them. And Tahang, I mean, maybe Tahang gets back in a minute here, but even if he does, this a minute and a half to bring this payload from here to second, not the easiest for Liquid in any case, so they are truly gonna need a miracle here, Hex.
Yeah, I think people do finally understand, having played competitive and things like that, that when you lose a player, it's in Overwatch, it means so much to be 5v6. It is so hard to play already down a player. It just, it's a monumental task ahead of Liquid right now with the disconnect on their side.
Off right now, a bit of trouble trying to stay alive. They do trade out, but again, trade outs aren't necessarily from the greatest for Liquid here, just because they are down members. Nicholas able to go right into the backline, takes down 2. And Tahang has rejoined the game, but there's only a minute left, Hex.
Take your medicine.
Yeah, but they do, we've seen teams clutch it out before and get to second point with very little time left, so they are going to have the tools to work with, and look at this, as soon as they see Tahang reconnect, they just bail. They're just going to hold in a different position. They don't want to get punished for holding too far ahead. No, they only have to win one more fight, but Rafa's got Graviton. They also have Death Blossom. Those are game-changing ultimates. Perhaps he can get it going.
Alrighty, well, Liquid right now on their final push attempt. 25 seconds left. This must be successful, or they're going to be in a world of hurt. Rafa opening up with the Graviton. AZK entering up in a fight in the back, but it doesn't matter, as while that's going on, ID able to get the double kill off of the Graviton. It's 4 kills here from Liquid. Tahang's reemergence into the game being just what Liquid needed, as now they're in a great position to push this up to second and buy themselves more time.
Yeah, they should be able to get this point. It's hard to get back here on the defense, and they're all very far away. They are going to grab this point. Tahang comes in as the hero, and just the bodies they need. You just saw just how differently they treat the game. As soon as Tahang reconnected, compLexity retreated. Just having a 6th is enough to push a team back.
The key thing is, though, is that's always sort of, you know, you're going to get hate either way. If you try and exploit the advantage, you're going to be like, why are you explaining that they're down a player? But if you lose when they're down a player, it's like, you lost 5v6, you guys are terrible. So I don't fault teams for trying to isolate the weakness here. But either way, Shake able to take down Mezar early on this fight. AZK holding to Death Blossom, but Liquid might be well advised to just hold on to their war chest, regroup, and go in once more 6, because you look at the complexity war chest, it's rather drained right now. They will have a Sound Bear in the next fight, and a Death Blossom maybe, but that's going to be it. Meanwhile, take a look, we're going to have Death Blossom in the Nano Boost, in the Earth Shatter, and potentially Deadeye and Sound Barrier later on, so Liquid building things up. This is their window, 40 seconds remaining.
Well, Mez and AZK have been very good for them tonight. They are going to be the ones combining here. Here comes the boost. AZK gets the Death Blossom into the back lines. They take down 2. Earth Shatter comes in, does not get everything they're looking for, but now 3 kills to 1 on the side of Liquid. They grab another.
AZK making most of it, ends up getting 4 kills on the Reaper. ID finishing off the 5th. And now they are pushing it forward. They have 15 seconds remaining. Defense is going to be able to come out in a flash here with Sound Barrier into Death Blossom. But if somehow Liquid can deal with this, they're going to be in a great shape. So here we go. In comes the defense right now. Joe Meister going to break it down. Nicholas into the backline to Death Blossom. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Still getting pushed back by Liquid as Liquid. They cannot leave the payload from here on out. Nano Boost comes in to Nicholas. Here he goes. Looking for the last few pickoffs. 3 pickoffs here for complexity. And they're going to stop Liquid right here.
So they're not going to finish the map, but they have to be somewhat... I mean, they're disappointed that the disconnect happened, but to get it this far after they got disconnected, if I'm Liquid, I'm, like, okay with it, right? I'm not thrilled because DC happened, and who knows what happens if it doesn't, but to get it this far, you've given yourself a chance in only the worst of circumstances.
Switching sides.
Heartblue beat me to it. That's exactly what I was typing.
Soon TM is a great, great emote, let me tell you.
It is literally going to be soon, though. At some point, unless they take it out of PTR. Like, I know that not everything from PTR gets implemented in the game, but can you imagine how devastated
Pause has a critical bug removed from the patch.
Pause.
Well, a lot of table flipping going on if that happens, let me tell you.
We removed a bug where Pause was shadow stepping into unforeseen locations.
Then you have a weird bug where... I will say this, for pausing, I'm glad that you'll have the option for pause in custom games. I'm pretty glad that I don't think it's coming with an option to pause in competitive. And I just say that from the point where when you get pause in competitive, you just get situations where you end up losing a lot of time. Like, it would be good in theory if both teams were good-mannered, but there's so many times in other games where, oh, one team is losing. Better just start chain pausing to drag things out. And it is literally just the worst.
Yeah, people are awful. I mean, I played plenty of competitive games where the moment I queue into it, a guy says, hey, I'm going to throw. I didn't even say hello first. He's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw, and then he plays like, I don't know. There's people who are odd. I don't understand the notion of it, but a lot of people didn't.
Sometimes you just wake up one day, go into Overwatch, and say, you know what? I just need to throw.
I'm like, no, not even talking about like people like playing like an off-meta hero or whatever. I can work with that.
You're talking about people like go in and literally announce to the team, I'm going to throw. Just like, really?
Yeah, I don't get. I mean, you play whatever you want. I'll work with you, whatever. I'm trying to play to have good times, but. Some people just
tilt is a preventable disease. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
It's terrible. Anyway, so this is the last map in the set. You saw exactly where Liquid was able to bring it, even working through a disconnect. And Numbani's a map that, you know, you can win Numbani by just winning 4 fights on defense. You win your first 4 fights on defense in a row, you won Numbani.
Very likely, and this is a case where Liquid, even though they're on the defense right now and didn't complete the map, they do have an opportunity to win this if they can full hold here on first. But look at this early blitz coming in from complexity. It's punished immediately, though. Torque goes down right away. ID looking for another hook. Very low, but while they're focusing on ID, Mezar gets that backline, takes down 2. And unfortunately, that Russian from complexity just horribly punished by the Winston cleave.
There was so much cleave. That's exactly what I was going to bring up too. He's just sitting in the doorway and just absolutely getting so much damage in that hallway too. Mintra with a really nice early kill did end up taking down Torque, so losing a lot of their damage early. Nicholas and Torque on the flanking DPS here. Nicholas did earn a pulse bomb by killing down ID there, but now we're down to 3 minutes. Like I said, you start there, you just win 4 fights on defense, you're going to win the map.
So Liquid, they are off to a good start, and we'll see here. Dahang almost has Nano Boost up, has to back out immediately in a little bit of trouble. Backing off, has Nano Boost, gonna drop that Nano Boost here immediately. As Rafa, bruised but not broken, still alive on top with all of 60 HP. ID going to get the hook on the Heartblue, and again, it's a very rapid fight, but Liquid getting the better of it. And compLexity now, remember, they're on the hot seat. If they're not able to cap point A, they're going to lose and be out of the tournament. So next 2.5 minutes, very crucial for both teams.
Next fight will probably happen at about 2 minutes. Like I mentioned, these fights, very difficult for the offense. You're not going to be able to reinforce unless you're having a resurrection mechanic or something along those lines. So you got to win the fight and then win it a couple times because defense will be able to reinforce a little bit.
All right, so taking a look at ID right now, looking once more for that big hook. And Liquid holding a little bit back here. They're bending a bit, not breaking. Letting compLexity get in on the point without being super aggro to it. They blow the sound barrier. They haven't gotten anything off it just yet. And here comes Torque, Dragon Blade out. Trying to crack this open here for compLexity. Looking for Ana. Ends up getting booped and bopped around by Winston. Fist beating sword in the corner. That is brutal there for Torque as Liquid picking up 3 quick kills here on first. And compLexity now potentially 2 team fights away from being eliminated.
Yeah, this was, you know, I told you they had to win 4 fights. Now maybe it ends up being 5, but that's 3, right? They won 3 fights decisively, haven't had to burn through their entire ult economy as they're going to have their Ana ultimate up and Graviton ready to go too. So this is looking all the way good for Liquid. Hopefully they don't get a disconnect, but yeah, probably the last fight incoming is going to take place at a minute here. This is the nature of Numbani, Liquid, of trying to lock out Numbani here, and even if they end up losing it, it's a very good first defense.
So key points here is not only Graviton, but also the Nano Boost on the AZK. Nano Boost going to be coming in right now. Rafa actually holding on to the Graviton later in the fight. JKW on the Dehang, AZK on the JKW. And there it is. Rafa with the Graviton setting himself up for 2 kills. Sets up ID as well. Liquid in the driver's seat right now with under a minute to go. But here comes Nicholas turning it back around. Tracer's power to do that somewhat unmatched at points, but unfortunately Nicholas, too many people dead all around him. And compLexity going to be down to their very last attack.
Last fight, Nicholas is going to have the pulse bomb to work with. That's about it. He's going to be pushing into a couple tank ultimates too, so Mez is going to be alive for a long while because he's going to pop that button to get 1,000 HP anyway. He's done so much damage on this Winston. His tank play has been outstanding today. Last fight incoming for compLexity.
Nicholas right now going in, looking for the early pulse bomb, not able to find that early target. Meanwhile, Mezrar opens up the Primal Rage, ends up getting slapped. That is one way to stop a rampaging monkey. And Harblue takes down ID, so compLexity still alive here. Both teams down 2 players. Reaper's doing work on both ends. AZK, though, having the Wraith for him. And Liquid right now, they're on the verge right now, Hex. They just need a little bit more. Sound Barrier comes out late here for compLexity. Harblue gonna whiff the hook. AZK fighting on the payload, all of 59 HP. Having trouble here against Showmeister and finally goes down. As compLexity, are they going to open the path? They're so close, Hex.
Harblue did get the boost in too. They are just trying to trickle back on this point. Nicholas and Torque back in here for alive. I think they're going to be able to flip this around. Mistral trying to come on the point and contest a little bit, but they're trickling on, getting beaten up back against the wall for compLexity, and they clutch it out on their last push. Numbani,
alrighty,
man.
so
Numbani.
compLexity staying alive. Liquid going to have to pull some better defenses out towards the end. I mean, it was a valiant first point defense, almost taking out compLexity right then and there, but compLexity still hanging there, still alive. Remember, compLexity is able to bring the payload to the end. That's going to be it. They're going to win this map as Liquid is not able to complete, so Liquid definitely not out of the fire themselves.
Not at all. Rafa's got to be careful. He gets hooked in, does have a shield up, but see, this puts your team in a bad position. They didn't want to be out there. They don't want to fight out there. AZK dies, but does trade out with Harblue. Here comes Mez with the boost.
Mezrar with the boost going right in. And again, this is Liquid just trying to drain the clock as much as possible. They didn't get what they were looking for there, but they do push compLexity back.
A really nice disengage from compLexity, though, to get around that bend and stay completely safe. Now they're going to have the boost advantage on their own and just going to take the fight to him. Here comes JKW.
JKW coming in off the Nano Boost. Ends up having to back out. Didn't like what he saw to begin with. Holding up the shield a whole lot for being Nano Boosted right now. And somewhat of a waste in the end as Mezrar countering with the Earth Shatter, setting up AZK for the Death Blossom. It's a 3K for Liquid. And Liquid again, putting compLexity in hot water. compLexity gonna be down to their last 2 pushes here in just a moment.
Yeah, now they're on the chase trying to get the spam through the door. As you mentioned, 1 minute and 10 seconds left for this compLexity roster to get it to the second checkpoint. They are banking up some ultimates now, though. Joe and Torque about to combine for Dragon Blade Sound Barrier type plays here. But Rafa Gravitons grabs 4.
Deadeye coming out here from ID late in the back. Doesn't quite get what he's looking for. Torque on the AZK, and here we go. Dragon Blade is out from Torque. Gonna get immediately met by the flashbang, but Sound Barrier keeping him up and alive. 2 kills here for compLexity. Rafa just getting torn apart from behind from Torque. compLexity getting the kills they need, and Hex, this game is not over yet. They will be extending their time in Liquid. They're gonna have to make their last stand on last.
This is bonkers. They're definitely going to grab this point, and they did use all the ultimates to get there. Actually, Nicholas and Shake going to have theirs up momentarily. 2 minutes on the clock. Yellow box of victory about halfway through towards the end. Not quite the end, but close enough. Next couple fights are going to decide who goes home with $2 grand at the very least, and who goes home empty-handed.
Mesrar going to be nano boosting in. What an Earth Shatter, knocking down 4. Got the mobility he was looking for. Sets himself up for 2 quick kills in Liquid. Striking right back. compLexity once more in that situation where they have to do it on the next 2 fights. And we're going to find out who our winner is and who goes on to face Cloud9 very shortly, Hex.
It's just been so back and forth. I'm not even sure about using that as an initiation on the defense, because now it's going to be JKW and Shake using it on their offensive initiation. You might want to save it and have it. They've got nothing defensively as far as ults go. Minstrel maybe will get a sound barrier somewhere in here.
All right, JKW rolling in, has Earth Shatter at the ready once more. It was Reaper that got the nano boost, so JKW a little bit out of gas. AZK and ID, though, striking back on the defensive DPS. It is very close right now. 4v4. Nicholas, though, coming in big towards the end. And it's compLexity with a little bit more momentum right now, trying to turn it right back.
There's that sound barrier.
Won't be enough. Liquid fighting right back. It's very close, and they force compLexity back once more, so what's going to happen here is that compLexity, this will be their final good push, and AZK on Liquid with the Death Blossom can end this right here, right now. There's no support else to stymie him. Maybe he'll get hit by a sleep dart, but if not, this is the kill shot right here, right now. AZK just waiting for compLexity to turn the corner. And Liquid being actually a little bit tentative here. They're opening up the Deadeye, and now AZK going to go in off the back. Takes down JKW. 2 kills here from Liquid. If Liquid wins this fight, they will go on to the grand finals. It is 4 kills here for Team Liquid. But here comes Torque. The last gasp has 2 in there with Nicholas. The TGL brothers able to keep it alive. The dream is not dead yet for compLexity.
Oh my god, the very late Graviton setting them up just because they had no other options. Nicholas and Torque are the ones who always have to show up for this compLexity team. They have combined now for 6 kills. Defense will be able to get out here installed. Not a great position though for Liquid, not ideal, but they are still alive, still in, and Graviton comes out from Rafa.
Rafa just going in, no nonsense here. He puts in 2 people, but the counter coming in from Nicholas takes down Mesrar. compLexity, are they snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat? They have all the momentum. Liquid is against the ropes. The payload is almost there. Hex, is this really happening?
It is happening. It has happened. That's it. compLexity.
Oh my goodness.
One of the best rounds of Numbani I've ever seen. I mean, good banners coming out. They say sorry about the DC. Regardless, that was insanity.
What a ridiculous ending to the game. That's a hard one to swallow for Liquid.
That's tough.
They had such a huge edge there, and it was Torque and Nicholas bring it back. If this was play of the match, I would wholeheartedly agree. And Hex, it was.
Yeah, look at the kill.
Team dead all around in the Graviton.
So much damage.
You hate to see that kind of thing happen if you're a fan of Liquid, but if you were a fan of compLexity, you were on the edge of your seats. My goodness, that is just what an ending to the game. compLexity gonna take it 3-2, winning the run back against Liquid. They lost to Liquid 3-2 earlier in the day, and they have earned their right to face Cloud9 in the grand final.
I have very, very few words. I kind of just feel bad for Liquid, but congrats to compLexity. They do secure themselves at least $2 grand, go up to the finals, down 1 game already to Cloud9. Best of 5, grand finals, Alienware monthly melee. It's Numbani, man.
That's just insane. Like, I really have no words.
There very few things can leave me speechless in Overwatch. I've seen a lot of it, but I cannot believe what I just saw.
I don't know. Like, that was insane. That's really all I can say about that, is that was pure insanity coming out here. And now Cloud9 going to be coming in with a 1-game winner's bracket edge, facing off against compLexity.